Hi there, and a warm welcome to this webinar. I'm really excited that you are here wherever you are in the world. Um, I'm going to start off here by doing just like a little bit of an introduction so you know what this thing is all about. Um, my name is Edward. I have worked for 15 years with analyzing websites, trying to figure out how do you just convert as much as possible through the website. So, what's very, very fascinating to me is that most people are some super small tweaks away from having a website that generates a lot of leads. Problem is though, a lot of people don't really know like how do we convert. So the vast majority, I've gone through the entire attendee list to this event. We're going to have a lot of very, very cool, interesting people and companies who's going to be here attending this event. And so, this is going to be very interactive. Don't just expect that I'm passively going to ramble on here for the next 30 minutes. This is going to be very interactive. I'm going to ask you some questions. You can ask me any form of questions whatsoever, but I'm going to try to keep this very, very short so that we don't run too much over the 30 minutes that this session is scheduled for. But what my genuine promise is, this is no sales BS. This is no me trying to sell you anything whatsoever. This is me really trying to build my own kind of karma account, showcasing that it is actually really easy to get a high performing website. And there's some very, very small tweaks. Here's a really cool thing that I heard a while back ago, which is when they do like plastic surgery on clients, the very, very best cosmetic surgeons in the world, they change at most 2 millimeters, and they can make a person go from I'll say it, ugly to beautiful. And that to me was super interesting because I see that kind of pattern in business too. There's some super small tweaks that we can do to your website, probably even today. That's not going to cost you anything. That will mean that you get more leads and opportunities that is going to come to your website. So that's what we're going to discuss. I'm going to just trying to give you as much value as I can. And there might be a lot of you who's like, this is great. How do we actually get this implemented? Um, I'm going to be your resource and try to help you as much as possible. So, first of all, um, the people who seem to be RSVPing to this webinar are mostly people who are business owners, business leaders, primarily to small, medium in the US, as far as I can see. I'd love just to start off with a quick little question here to all of you, and please just interact and make this a little bit more of an engaging experience, because I think everyone is going to get a lot more out of it if we do so. So first of all, can you just type in the chat here where you're based and maybe a little bit about your business, so that I kind of, because if I know that a lot of people are consultants, or if it's software, whatever that is, I can show you some very, very good examples specifically for what you're hoping to do, if that makes sense. So please just write in the comments right away a little bit of where you are and what your business is about. And I'm going to check the chat throughout the session, and I'm going to respond to you right away. If you have any questions, jump in and ask me, and I can bring it up live here on this webinar. Sounds cool? Brilliant. So I have now narrowed down 3 very, very simple things that we can do to engage a lot better with websites. So when it comes to small business websites, here's the thing that I've noticed. Small business websites, they typically don't have 2 billion visitors a day. You normally don't just stumble upon a consultant to just randomly and go to their website. Most often it's a recommendation. You've seen like an ad or SEO in Google, whatever that might be, which takes you to the website. And what that means is that the visitors to those websites, they're typically not irrelevant, which is fantastic. They're probably there for a very good reason, and that's because they want to figure out, do they want to engage with you? If you have a good enough website, they will go through the website and see, oh, this will make a huge difference for me if I implement this solution. So that's a beautiful thing. That's an absolutely fantastic thing, because that basically means if we can just tell the right story, your people, like the visitor to your website, have a high probability of converting. So I see here we have Michael Sarelli. Warm welcome to you. We have Jill Smith from South Dakota. Pleasure to have you here. I see Sean Kaluet. I'm probably butchering your name. Sorry about that. But warm welcome to you, first of all. Thank you for engaging. This is fantastic. I bet you guys are going to get a lot of this session. So the first thing that I'm going to start off with is there are three very, very typical trends. Hey there, Cadence, by the way. You're in Ottawa. Warm welcome. There are three very, very typical tweaks that I can see is going to make a big difference for pretty much any small business. I'm going to walk through them all. And again, I say it probably too often, but just engage, just write any questions that I have about these topics. The first one that I would say is we see a very, very different trend in how people like to learn about your company. It used to be when you go to a website, you have like, hey, this is an overline of our company, what we do. Beneath there, you have like, here are different services. Under there, you have maybe some case studies, testimonials, stuff like that. And then there's a call to action, get in touch, so on and so forth. If you ask me, that's what 99% of websites do. That's storytelling. And unfortunately, that doesn't work as well anymore. What I instead recommend that we do, and we're going to walk through here, is how do you tell a story that makes people go, oh, this looks different. I see that this will make a big difference for me. I have no risk whatsoever engaging with this company. If we are able to get people to that place, you're probably going to get a lot more leads. So here at our agency at Webtec, we built more than 1,000 websites. Probably the most recognized websites that we have built is like H&M, if you know the clothing store. I think this is even an H&M t-shirt that I'm wearing right now. I'm Swedish, so it's something we're proud of over there. But whenever we design websites, we always tend to do like a little bit of A/B testing. Because here's a super controversial thing. What you and what I think about your website values to zero, because we're not the ones who's meant to be impressed. It's your visitor. So if now you have a visitor to the website, they're probably there for a good reason, and we now tell a good story. If the website can just convert them into a sales opportunity, the website has served its part. The website is probably, if we're talking about business-to-business sales, it's probably not going to convert them into a closed deal, but it can create that opportunity. And if they just create that opportunity, you have a very high likelihood of getting a new opportunity. Make sense? So the very first thing that we see, I mentioned, people don't just like to read anymore. The way people prefer to read about a new product or solution is through video. You see it everywhere. Social media, every single social media platform is putting so much emphasis on video compared to text and photos these days. The problem is, and I'm going to show you here, I'm going to start sharing my screen and show you a couple of examples, but 95% of websites don't even have a video. If they do have a video, it's typically a 2-minute long sales pitch. Not very exciting and engaging whatsoever. So if you add a video to your website, you're likely going to see that around 80% of your visitors are going to click to watch that video. Another problem with video, though, is, for example, let's say you are learning about the company, you look at the video. After you've watched the video, it's like it's a passive watch. And after you watch the video, now you just need to scroll and keep using the site. So the problem there is it doesn't really convert. Have a look at this here. I'm going to show you now straight away a website of a tool that is phenomenal. It's a tool called Basecamp. It's a project management tool. When you land on this website, you see here the messaging right away. Refreshingly simple project management. What I think they do really smart with the messaging here is to start by talking about the problem. Because again, like if someone just says, here's a gym and you're going to get fit, and so like, that's not super engaging, is it? But if you instead say, we're going to help you feel better, have more energy, that you sleep better, that you can, look at your mirror and be proud of yourself. Like It's far more powerful if your messaging is a little bit more directed towards the problem you're solving rather than just here is what we do. Does this make sense? If it does, please just tell me here in the chat, because that would be very, very helpful for me to know if this is resonating with you. If we now keep scrolling, because I mentioned I started this conversation talking about video. So here's the thing, they have a great start talking about the problem. Now, a little bit further down here, they have a video. So when we click watch on the video.
How does Basecamp work? Well, let's jump.
You have here a 2-minute, 45-second long video. It's not a bad video. They probably spent a couple of grand building this video, but you can just watch the video. Maybe you get like a little bit of education, but there's nothing you can do here. You see this? I can't say it doesn't have get started. It doesn't have book a call. It doesn't have anything. So this is a huge issue with using videos typically on the website or on websites. So they start off so well, but now they're losing a lot because they have no way to convert from here. Of course, if you start scrolling and use the website, you're going to see that they have call to actions and stuff like that down here. So this is a huge company. They're doing really, really well, but they would probably convert a lot better with a smarter video. So how do we fix this? Here I'm going to show you one of the most promising trends that I see. I think this is going to completely dominate as a feature what you're going to see on websites going forward. I'm going to show you now 2 different examples. I'm going to first of all show you an example here of a company who's offering podcast editing services. And I'm going to use this example. I know this is not probably what most people here do, but it's just really good for seeing the bad example and seeing the good example, right? This company here, Podcast for Coaches, you see here a photo right away that has nothing to do with podcasting as far as I see. So very irrelevant. It's someone looking out over nature. It's a nice photo. Like, what does this have with podcasting? Absolutely nothing. So already there, it's like a little bit confusing. They say right away, podcast editing services, okay? If we now want to learn more, look at this here. Text, 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 text. I don't think the text here is necessarily bad per se, but like, would you be excited? Like, you need really help with growing your podcast and getting someone to help you with editing, and you're looking at someone who just has a book of text like this? Horrible, if you ask me. I don't know who's the owner of this website, so if she watches this, my apologies. But again, everyone can get better. You see also here the call to action is let's chat. Call to actions are going to be another thing that I'm going to talk a little bit more about here sooner. And then she has a couple of examples here. But again, this here, I think my prediction is going to have a very, very low conversion rate. So now we're going to go to option number 2 here. How do we make this even better? So here is a website that we built last year. This is from a very, very smart guy. His name is Kyle. When we built his website, he had a website that was similar to this, and not a lot of interaction engagement came through. And then we built this new site here. Here we go. So we started here with some bright colors, making it super eye-catching right away. So we have the yellow colors, and then we have a messaging here now that is really on point. Podcasting just got easier. That's what you want, right? Premium podcast services for busy people, and then your free consultation, or what do we do? Already here, you have miles ahead of the site that we just looked at, if you ask me. Now, what most people do when they land on here is they see a video. Now, I'm going to press play here, and we're going to go through this experience. I do not know for sure yet, but I hope the audio is going to pick up here as well. But I'm going to press play, and we'll see what happens. So what you get here is an 11-second long video. Every single visitor is going to sit through that time. And he basically says an introduction to the company. And then what he does that I think is so brilliant is This experience on the website is not about him. It's about the visitor. How can he help you? So he asks you this engaging question. How can we help you today? And now you see here, you have three interactive options. You have, I want to start a podcast, I need a podcasting editor, or I need both. So when someone has watched this and they see these options, well, let's now say, for the sake of the example, that we're starting a podcast. I'm going to click option A. Again, another follow-up question that is highly relevant to the initial selection that you made. So now he says, okay, is it for you or is it for another organization? So the concept here is he figures out, why are you on his website? What are you looking for? He's not trying to pitch you all of his different services, because he has a bunch of different services. If you see up top here, there's a bunch of different services. He tries to figure out what are you looking for, so he can talk about that. Now, when we've answered two questions, now you're going to see he's going to go in and explain his solution. I'm not going to play the whole video. I think if you're watching this, you already get the point here. It's a very simple and interactive video. This is surprisingly easy to do. If you look at the video itself, there's no editing, there's no fancy transitions, there's no background, like there's none of that BS. I'll say BS that people tend to spend thousands of dollars on to create a professional website that then doesn't convert anyways. It's a simple video he took with his iPhone, or if it was a webcam, he records straight in, just like, I think it's his office or home, whatever it is. And the coolest thing now is he's presented a solution that is specifically what you looked for. And then he now can convert you into a sales call from this as well. So you see in the bottom here, he's going to say, okay, here's the problem you're going to face. Here's how I can help you. Now, if you're interested, click to book a call with me so I can learn a little bit more about your podcasting goals and see how I can help you with a proposal. So now I can book a meeting. Here's an integration with Calendly, an online booking solution where you can pick a time and have a call. So do you see the difference here? This is a very typical website. I'm not going to say that anything is like, there's obviously a lot of things that I wouldn't recommend them doing, but this is a very standard website. Not converting, nothing at all. This here, by just looking at the hero, you're probably far more engaged and compelled to talk to this guy compared to his competitor. Question for you here, so that you're staying in line with me. Have you ever seen something like this, or does this resonate with you? Because again, video is far more engaging than just text and photos. I assume that most people on this webinar prefers video compared to just text and photos. And the cool thing is, when we've done A/B tests for some of the people who are using these interactive videos, there's a client who said, when he tested, the ones who's watching a video are 7 times more likely to convert than someone who doesn't. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. That basically means 7 times more conversions. So that should be a very, very promising trend. And the cool thing about this is you don't need to spend thousands of dollars hiring a video editor or a video producer or whatever that videographer to create all of this. This is super easy to implement. If you want, you can here paste in the chat, paste your email. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to paste in the link a calendar. If this idea makes sense to you, I can show exactly how to put it together, but just to be aware of time, I'm not going to talk too much about this for now. So in the chat, I'm going to paste the link where you can basically go and book a time if you want, if this is interesting, or you can just start Googling interactive video tools. The thing there is they take a little bit of time to learn. But again, like, happy to help you if this is an idea that you think would make sense for your business. So I'll paste the link here in the chat in a second, so you can go and check that out. But first of all, question to you: does this make sense so far? Is this a valuable idea, please add that in the chat, because I always just want to get feedback for what ideas resonates, so I can give better recommendations going forward. But yeah, so far, everyone we're implementing this, not a single client we implemented this for has removed them, which probably means they're working. Okay, so that's the first recommendation that I have. The second recommendation is interactivity. And that's part of what this video does already. But there was a really interesting thing that I noticed, like a story that I heard about the past elections in the US. So in the US, you have another one coming up in November, so this could probably be a very relevant story. But what they saw was you have those kind of signs that you put in the front yard with saying if you vote Democrat or Republican, for example. And it's a big sign that a lot of people, homeowners, put in their yard. So a company went out knocking on doors saying, hey, we would want to ask if you can put this sign in your front yard. And I might butcher the numbers a little bit here, but it was like they had about 15% of the people who agreed to do this. So that's not a very, very high success rate in their opinion. So then they did a really cool thing. They said, instead, could you just put a little bit of a sticker on the inside of your window? And that's not such a big ask. So then they got like 90% of people said yes. And then they asked, do you actually want to put the sign on your front yard as well? And then they had like 70% compliance. So it took from 15 to 70% compliance by just asking for a smaller thing first. That was very easy for the prospect in this case to accept. So that's a really interesting thing. If you just do a smaller ask first, sort of like what this video is, just answer these couple of questions, and so we can give you better information. My favorite website that does this in a really smart way is this site here. There's another project management tool. A project management tool you can use for 2 billion different things. Now, what they do really cool here is when you land on monday.com, they say your go-to-work platform. In order for them to figure out how they can use the most relevant message for you, they say, what are you trying to use or use it for? So you see work management, CRM, or development. So let's now say, for the sake of the example, I want to run marketing and project management. And then they have get started. You look here at a very cool detail that they do. No credit card needed, unlimited time on a free plan. So here is something that you can use specifically for your intended purpose. You need to pay nothing. It's going to be free forever. Why not get started? You have basically nothing to lose. So that's why this website is really, really smart in terms of engagement. If I now click get started, they're going to send me to a new screen where they say, here's the best features for marketing and project management. So having these small little things where you get the visitor to interact early on is a very, very smart way to drive more engagement on the site. And yeah, you also see they have like these logo types here, build trust and credibility. And then down here, you learn more about the different solutions. So add video, make it interactive. The very last thing I'm going to recommend that you do, this is such an easy thing, which is, remember the story I told in the beginning. Here's our company, here's the services, a little bit of past work, let us talk. There's a much better way to do that, which is people are currently thinking, should I keep doing what I'm doing, or should I contact this company that I'm now exploring here on the website? I'm going to share another website here that did a very smart thing with showcasing the different options that you have. So I just realized here that I haven't shown the right screens for you. Anyways, so look at this here. Here is another very smart website. Here is resonaterecordings.com. You land on their website, you see right away they build trust and credibility. They have Google reviews. They make it interactive here, share your success, share your mission, so on and so forth, through power of podcasting. So very attention grabbing right away. When we go a little bit further down the line, I mean, most people here wonder, should I just keep doing what I'm doing, or should I see what other options are out there? So look at this when we go a little bit further down. It's so smart. Managing a podcast can be overwhelming. Resonate makes it easy. So here they now show two different examples. Either you can do it yourself, but then here's the journey that lies ahead. What is the plan? What RSS feed? Which microphone should I use? Where should I post it? Should I write some notes? Like all of these things that you need to figure out yourself, which is obviously a huge freaking hassle for most people. Or otherwise, you can also go to podcasting with Resonate and you get this instead. So much simple and straightforward. We will help you with everything. So this really makes me, like, when someone comes to this website and they see this, like, either I do it myself or I go with these guys, and I'm going to have so much more of an effective process, right? So small stuff like this. The whole takeaway here is have a section where you talk about the options for the visitor. Either you do it yourself, or you go with a competitor, or follow our path. And then you're going to have a much, 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 much different experience. So some of these tricks can definitely make a huge impact. I think anyone who has a website, if you implement a couple of these things, you're likely going to get a lot better of engagement interactions from your website. I'm going to end off here by proving this to you. So I mentioned in the beginning, we run A/B tests all the time. We're going to look here at some of the A/B tests that we have run so you can see which kind of difference this can make. I'm going to start here, first of all, with Netflix. So Netflix did an A/B test where they had two different call to actions. You see here, photo one, they have unlimited movies, TV shows, and more. Watch anywhere, cancel anytime. Everything here, messaging-wise, is exactly the same, but they have two different call to actions. Either sign up now or see prices. Now we're going to look at which one of these two won. What actually performed better here is, in this case, they had four call to actions: join the community and then get started. Get started, if I now remember correctly, had 70% better conversions than the other options. 70%. If you would get 70% more leads from your website, I think you'd be quite thrilled about that. So by just changing the call to action, by changing the offer you give to your visitor, you're going to get a drastically higher income of leads. So this is like such easy tweak that will make everything so much easier. Another example here is this one here. This is adding a testimonial in the hero section. So they had the previous hero section looked like this. It's an omega-3 pill. Talked a little bit about it, some certifications, and then beneath here, they then tested adding a call to action. And this is on a specific product page. This is not even the home page. And that bumped up the conversion rate with 6%. Like, all of these small percentage makes a huge difference. I'm going to see which else here that is kind of cool examples. I remember we had another website that we built a while back ago where they had, I'm going to show you sort of like an example. I'll go back to this one. So the client that we built had a website with a call to action that said, book a call. The color of the button was blue. We then did an A/B test with 3,000 visitors and tested if we just changed the color of the button to red, where I think it was dark orange or something. And we thought maybe it'd be really cool if we see 10% difference here. That'd be really interesting. After 3,000 visitors come to the website and tried both, we had 225% more clicks on orange compared to blue. That is an insane number that we cannot simply explain. We don't know why people are clicking so much more on orange compared to blue. What we do know is if they would have stuck to blue, they would have missed out probably 5 figures in potential lead opportunities. So that's tying this all back to what I mentioned at the beginning. You might just need to change a couple of millimeters, like that plastic surgeon I mentioned, and you're going to get a lot more leads to your website. Now, if we add an interactive video, if we add a section that talks a little bit about the problem you're solving and the different options the customer have, and lastly, we add better call to actions, a powerful offer that has no risk for the visitor, then I'm willing to stake a lot that you're going to get a lot more engagement through your website. And all of these recommendations you could essentially implement and execute in a matter of probably an hour on your website. Only perhaps recording videos might take a little bit longer, but within a day for sure. So I'm going to go back here to the chat for a second. I'd love for you guys to jump in here. I notice now that I made the silly mistake of not sharing the right tabs. So if you see here, I'll do a quick summary of everything that we went through once again. We had the Basecamp website where great initial messaging, talking about the problem they're solving, creating an urgent or a desire, have a video, but it just was too long and didn't convert. We fixed that by adding these interactive videos, sort of like this site here. When you click play on the video,
hi, my name.
Different options. He explains what he does in 10 seconds, and then you get engaged in this interactive experience to find the solution that you came to find. So this is such a brilliant example. We also looked at, here was his competitor that like just had text. Call to action is let's chat. Again, very unengaging and uninspiring. We looked at monday.com, where you can now select a couple of different options here right away, interactive instantly. Great call to action, get started. You have no credit card needed, unlimited time on a free plan. Very, very smart. And then I also showed you this site here. Very good initial messaging, showcasing a little bit further down here, what is the path you have to choose from? What problems will you have based on what path you choose? So, my dear friends, please comment and say which one of these ideas do you think would make the biggest difference for your business? I would love to get some feedback to know what actually lands and resonates with you. If you want any form of help and assistance in setting any of this up, reach out to me. You can add me on LinkedIn. I'm also going to paste the link to my calendar here in the chat. In case you just want to book a time, we can look at some more specific examples for you. But again, my intention is not to sell anything. This is purely to give you inspiration, give you ideas that you can go and implement yourself. If you don't have time, I have a team who can help. That's the point. Fantastic. We've already run a couple of minutes over time here. So I'm going to stay on the chat here. Please just interact, ask me any form of questions, and I'm going to respond to you as quickly as I can. But for the ones who sat through all the way to the end here, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate this. Remember, with a couple of super small tweaks to your website, it will probably mean that you're going to have so much easier to generate leads in business. The website should be your absolute best salesperson, working hard 24/7 while you sleep. And that's why I feel like that if you just do some tweaks to your website, you will very, very likely have a lot better of conversion and engagement. All right. I hope this was useful. Once again, thank you so much. And keep using the chat to leave some comments, and I'm going to engage with you there right away. Thank you so much.